The rain-slicked alley behind Gino's diner reeked of garbage and regret, but it was the metallic tang of blood that hit Samuel first, like a punch to the gut he couldn't dodge. He froze in the shadows, his undercover alias as Joe the line cook forgotten, as he watched Michael crumple against the brick wall, cradling his mangled right hand like it was the last piece of his shattered dignity. "You think you're safe here, faggot?" The burly homophobe snarled from the mouth of the alley, his boot still swinging back for another kick that never landed because Samuel's roar exploded into the night like thunder over the Hudson. Samuel's heart hammered as he lunged forward, tackling the bastard to the wet pavement with a force born of years buried under boardroom bullshit. Fists flew, Samuel's precise, fueled by Marine training from a decade ago, the attacker's sloppy, reeking of cheap whiskey and unchecked rage. By the time the sirens wailed in the distance, the thug was a groaning heap, zip-tied with Samuel's belt, and Michael was staring at him with eyes wide as saucers, blood trickling from a split lip that made Samuel's stomach twist. "Who the hell are you?" Michael whispered, voice cracking like the thunder overhead, and in that moment, Samuel knew his cover was blown. Not just as Joe, but as the man who'd built an empire on secrets while his own soul starved. Samuel dragged the zip-tied asshole into the diner's back door, the fluorescent kitchen lights buzzing like angry hornets overhead. The place was a ghost town at 2 a.m., closing time in Hell's Kitchen, where the night shift crowd thinned out like smoke from a Marlboro. Michael's hand was a mess, knuckles split open, fingers swollen purple, the kind of injury that screamed emergency room, but whispered, "Don't ask questions," in a city that chewed up dreamers and spat out husks. Samuel propped the thug against a prep table, ignoring the guy's slurred curses, and turned to Michael, who was already fumbling for a rag to wrap his hand, pretending like this was just another Tuesday. "Jesus, kid. Sit down before you pass out," Samuel growled, his voice rougher than he intended, laced with that Brooklyn edge he could never fully shake. He was 42, built like a brick shithouse from gym sessions that doubled as therapy, but right now, he felt exposed, his tailored flannel shirt soaked through, revealing the holstered Glock he kept for undercover precautions. Michael, 28 and wiry as a stray cat, just blinked those storm-gray eyes, the ones that had caught Samuel's attention weeks ago when he'd first gone undercover as the new short-order cook. Back then, it was just a flicker, the way Michael slung plates with a grace that turned grease into poetry, or how he'd flash a crooked smile at the drag queens who tipped in glittery singles. "I'm fine," Michael muttered, but his voice betrayed him, trembling like the rain pattering against the grimy window. He sank onto a stool anyway, the rag turning crimson as he pressed it to his hand. Samuel's jaw clenched. This wasn't supposed to happen, not on his watch. He'd bought Gino's 6 months ago through a shell company, a fixer-upper in a neighborhood teetering on gentrification's knife edge. The diner was bleeding cash, shady suppliers, pilfering staff, whispers of mob ties from the old owner. Samuel's plan was simple: go in as Joe Harlan, grease monkey with a rap sheet, root out the rot without tipping his hand as Samuel freaking Whitaker, heir to Whitaker Imports, the kind of blue blood fortune that bought penthouses in Tribeca and Silence from the tabloids. But Michael, he was the wild card. The waiter with the laugh like summer fireflies, who quoted Whitman between orders of pastrami on rye. Samuel had clocked him as gay from day one, the subtle rainbow pin on his apron, the way he'd linger a beat too long chatting up the cute barista from the coffee shop next door. In a city like New York, that shouldn't mean shit, but Hell's Kitchen had its pockets of poison, Holdouts from the AIDS crisis era who still spat venom at anything that glittered outside the norm. "You ain't fine," Samuel said, grabbing the first aid kit from under the sink. He knelt, awkward as hell for a guy his size, and started cleaning the wound, his calloused fingers gentle against Michael's skin. Up close, Michael smelled like diner coffee and cheap cologne, undercut with something sweeter, like vulnerability wrapped in defiance. "That prick. Did he say why? This about last night's rush? The way he kept eyeing you." Michael's laugh was bitter, a shard of glass in the humid air. "Nah, Joe. It's me. Always me." He winced as Samuel dabbed antiseptic, but his eyes held steady, searching Samuel's face like he was piecing together a puzzle. "You move like you've done this before. Not your first alley brawl." Samuel hesitated, the lie sticking in his throat. "Bartending in the 90s. Learned to spot trouble." Truth was, he'd grown up dodging his old man's belt in a Park Slope brownstone, then channeled that rage into the core. But Michael didn't need to know that. Not yet. Instead, Samuel focused on the hand, 2 fingers dislocated, probably, and a deep gash that needed stitches. "We gotta get you to the ER. Cops'll want statements." "No cops," Michael said sharply, pulling back. "They'll just file it under hate crime, low priority, and my boss, Gino's ghost, would fire my ass for drama." He glanced at the thug, who was out cold now, drooling on the floor. "Just tie him up tighter and let the rain wash him away. He'll wake up with a hangover and forget my face." Samuel's gut twisted again. This kid, this man, deserved better than erasure. He thought of his own secrets, the closet he'd locked at 18, after a fumbling hookup in boarding school left him branded queer by whispers that followed him to Yale. Whitaker money bought discretion, therapists, beards for galas, a string of anonymous grinder nights that left him hollow. Coming undercover here was supposed to be a lark, a way to play hero without the family spotlight. But Michael, he was real. Raw. The kind of beautiful that hurt to look at. "Fine. No cops. But I'm driving you to the hospital." Samuel stood, towering over Michael, his shadow swallowing the light. "And tomorrow, you call in sick. I got your shifts." Michael's gaze softened, a flicker of something electric passing between them, like static before a storm. "Why? You barely know me, Joe." "Because I've been watching you for weeks," Samuel thought. "Because in a life of mergers and acquisitions, you're the first thing that feels like acquisition's opposite, surrender." But he just shrugged, forcing a grin. "Call it the bro code. Now let's move before this asshole wakes up singing show tunes." They bundled the thug into a walk-in freezer, cruel but temporary, then slipped out the back into the downpour. Samuel's truck was a beat-up F-150, perfect for his cover, and Michael slid in shotgun like he'd done it 100 times. The drive to Mount Sinai was a blur of wipers and silence, broken only by Michael's ragged breaths. In the ER waiting room, under harsh fluorescence that made everything look like a crime scene, Samuel finally broke. "I'm not just Joe," he said, voice low as Michael got his hand splinted. "Name's Samuel. And that prick? He works for the suppliers screwing this place over. I think." Michael's head snapped up, pain meds making his pupils dilate. "Wait, you're what? Undercover? For who?" Samuel leaned in, the confession tasting like freedom. "For me. I own Gino's. Bought it to clean house. But you. Shit, Michael, You weren't part of the plan. The waiter's laugh was genuine this time, soft and surprised. Owns the diner and slings hash browns? That's some Oliver Twist bullshit. He reached out with his good hand, brushing Samuel's knuckles, a touch that lingered, warm against the chill. Well, boss man, if you're confessing, I got one too. That thug? Not random. Ex from Alabama. Followed me up here after I left him for being a closet case who punched walls instead of owning his shit. Samuel's world tilted. Betrayal's shadow loomed already, but so did possibility. As the nurse called Michael's name, their fingers intertwined briefly, a promise unspoken in the sterile hum of the hospital. Little did Samuel know, the real fractures were just beginning to show. Outside, the rain eased to a drizzle, New York exhaling like a lover after a fight. Samuel lit a cigarette, bad habit from the core, watching Michael hobble back to the truck, arm in a sling. Thanks, Michael said, sliding close enough that their thighs touched. For everything. Don't thank me yet, Samuel replied, starting the engine. This city's got teeth. And I've got a feeling we just pissed some off. As they merged into the FDR drive, the skyline glittered like a lure, hiding the darkness that waited to swallow them whole. Samuel glanced at Michael, memorizing the curve of his jaw, the way pain etched lines that beauty softened. For the first time in years, he felt alive, terrified, but alive. Back at Michael's cramped walk-up in Chelsea, poster-plastered walls screaming indie bands and pride flags, Samuel helped him up the stairs, ignoring the protest of his own bruised ribs. The apartment was a time capsule, dog-eared copies of Giovanni's Room, a guitar gathering dust, photos of Michael grinning with a gaggle of friends at last year's Pride. Crash here, Michael insisted, gesturing to the lumpy couch. Safer than your truck. Samuel hesitated, the air thick with unspoken want. He was no stranger to hookups, but this felt different, deeper, like dipping a toe into an ocean that could drown him. You sure? I snore like a freight train, Michael smirked, popping painkillers with a swig of tap water. Good. It'll drown out the nightmares. He paused, vulnerability cracking through. This hand? It's the third time. First was high school, Bible Belt bullshit. Second, that ex. Now, fuck. I thought New York was sanctuary. Samuel's chest ached. He pulled Michael into a hug, careful, one-armed, inhaling the scent of hospital antiseptic and man. It is. For both of us. The words hung heavy, a vow he hadn't meant to make. They talked till dawn. Michael's escape from Mobile at 22, hustling tables to chase acting dreams that flickered like faulty bulbs. Samuel's gilded cage, where queerness was a scandal his father buried with NDAs. Laughter mingled with tears, boundaries blurring in the gray light filtering through fire escape bars. When Michael finally dozed, head on Samuel's shoulder, Samuel traced the sling's edge, vowing silently, no more hiding. Not for him. But as sleep claimed him too, his phone buzzed, a text from his PI, supplier thug ID'd. Connected to old owner. Watch your back, boss. Samuel deleted it, pulling Michael closer. Dawn broke over the city, painting rooftops gold, but shadows lingered in the alleys below. 2 weeks blurred into a rhythm Samuel hadn't known he craved. Mornings brewing coffee in Michael's kitchenette, evenings closing Gino's side by side, Michael's good hand brushing his under the counter like Morse code for stay. The diner pulsed with life now, Samuel's undercover intel had flushed out the crooked suppliers, replacing them with legit ones that turned pastrami platters into profit. He stayed Joe to the staff, but with Michael, he was Samuel, the man who burned toast but kissed like he was staking a claim. Started small, that pull between them. A shared cigarette on the fire escape, Michael's lips lingering on the filter after Samuel passed it. Then, one humid August night after a double shift, they stumbled into the back booth, closed sign flipped, jukebox crooning Sinatra, and Michael's confession tumbled out like loose change. "I've wanted this since day one," he murmured, fingers threading through Samuel's hair, pulling him down for a kiss that tasted like salt and surrender. Samuel groaned into it, hands roaming Michael's back, bunching the faded Metz tea that smelled of fryer oil and home. They made love right there on the vinyl seats, urgent, messy, the kind of sex that rewrote loneliness into litany. Michael's gasps echoed off checkered floors, his body arching like a bowstring under Samuel's touch. "God! Sam! Don't stop," he breathed, nails digging crescents into broad shoulders. Samuel couldn't, losing himself in the heat, the way Michael's laughter bubbled up mid-thrust, turning ache into joy. After, tangled in booth cushions, sweat cooling in the AC's hum, they talked futures. Michael dreamed of off-Broadway stages, monologues that bared souls without apology. Samuel confessed his empire, shipping lanes from Shanghai to Staten Island, a trust fund that could buy islands but never belonging. "Run away with me," Michael teased, tracing Samuel's jaw. "Diner owners in Key West. Margaritas and no suits." Samuel chuckled, but the idea lodged like a hook. For the first time, Whitaker legacy felt like chains, not armor. Tempting. But first, "I gotta make this place bulletproof." The idol cracked on Labor Day weekend, when the city swelled with tourists and tempers. Gino's was slammed, a conveyor of hot dogs and malts, Michael's sling off but his grip still tentative. Samuel manned the grill, flipping burgers with precision, stealing glances at Michael's fluid grace dodging tables. That's when she walked in, Elena Vasquez, sharp-suited shark from Samuel's boardroom, all Louboutins and lethal smiles. "Joe Harlan?" she purred, sliding onto a stool, her eyes scanning him like a balance sheet. Samuel's blood iced. Elena handled discreet acquisitions, code for burying scandals. What the hell was she doing here? "Wrong guy," he lied, plating a Reuben without looking up. But Elena leaned in, voice a velvet blade. "Cut the shit, Sam. Daddy Dearest sent me. Whispers of your side project, hitting the street journal. Time to wrap this vanity play and come home." Michael caught the tail end, pausing mid-order, his face paling. Samuel shot Elena a glare that could curdle milk. "Tell Witt Sr. I'm busy saving his investment." "Doors that way," she laughed, low and knowing, slipping a card onto the counter. "Charming as ever. But play hero too long, and you'll drag your little birdie down with you." Her gaze flicked to Michael, praising, and Samuel's fists clenched. Elena knew about him, about this. The betrayal stung, his father, weaponizing family to reel him in. Michael cornered him in the alley later, rain starting again like an omen. "Who was that? And don't bullshit me, Sam." "Daddy Dearest? You're..." "What? Slumming it for fun?" Samuel deflated, leaning against the wall where it all began. "Not fun. Necessary." My old man's empire. It's got hooks in everything, including me. I came here to prove I could fix something without his strings. He reached for Michael's hand, the healed one, thumb stroking the knuckles. You're not part of that. You're the reason I'm not running back. Michael searched his eyes, hurt flickering like neon. Then why the secrecy? Weeks of Joe. And now this ghost from your past waltzes in like she owns you. He pulled away, voice cracking. I thought we were building something real. Not another role. The words landed like blows, echoing Samuel's own fears. He pulled Michael close, rain mingling with tears. It is real. You're real. Give me time to cut the cords. But time was a luxury New York didn't afford. That night, as they lay in Michael's bed, bodies entwined but hearts guarded, a brick crashed through the window, shattering glass and illusion. Scrawled on it in marker, "Fags burn." Michael's scream tore the night, and Samuel's world narrowed to rage. Cops came, real ones this time, dusting for prints that wouldn't yield shit. Michael's ex, the PI confirmed later, had vanished after the freezer stunt. But the threats escalated. Slashed tires, anonymous calls breathing fire. Samuel installed cameras, hired off-duty muscle, but the fear seeped in like damp rot. Michael withdrew, rehearsals for a community theater gig turning into late nights at dive bars, drowning doubts in gin. Samuel confronted him one crisp October evening. The city leaves bleeding red underfoot. Talk to me, he demanded, cornering Michael post-shift in the diner's office, amid stacks of invoices and faded Polaroids of old staff. You're pulling away. Is it the bricks? Or me? Michael's eyes, shadowed by exhaustion, met his. Both. This city's a beast, Sam. And your world's colliding with mine, suits and secrets, while I'm dodging bottles for being me. He cupped Samuel's face, tender despite the storm. I love you. Fuck, I do. But love's not enough if it means hiding, or worse, getting broken again. Samuel's throat tightened. Love the word he'd skirted like a fault line. I love you too. And I'll burn it all down for us. He kissed him then, fierce, claiming hands mapping familiar terrain, reigniting the fire. They tumbled onto the desk, papers scattering like confetti, Michael's moans a symphony against the city hum. It was desperate, devotional, Samuel on his knees, worshipping with mouth and hands until Michael shattered, whispering yes like absolution. In the afterglow, curled on the floor amid ledger sheets, Samuel plotted. I'm telling my father. Full disclosure. Then we flip Gino's to a co-op, staff-owned. No more Whitaker taint. Michael smiled, fragile but fierce. Promise. Swear on the Hudson. But promises, like New York rain, washed away too easy. The next morning, Elena returned, not alone. Flanked by 2 suits from corporate security, she delivered the ultimatum: sell out or face audit Armageddon. Your father's not bluffing, Sam. And that waiter? Leverage. Samuel's blood boiled. Betrayal. Paternal edition. He signed nothing, but the seed of doubt took root. Michael, sensing the shift, clung tighter, their nights a bulwark against the siege. Yet whispers grew, staff gossiping about the rich boyfriend, Michael's ex surfacing in taunting texts. The diners till rang steady, but their peace teetered on the edge of freefall. November chill bit like regret, frosting windows and breaths as Thanksgiving loomed. a holiday Samuel loathed since his mother's overdose, the one his father blamed on lifestyle choices code for her quiet queerness. This year, he vowed different. A spread at Gino's for the crew, turkey carved with Michael's help, toasts to survival over pie. But betrayal brewed hotter than gravy. It hit during Friday rush, the diner a madhouse of cabbies and club kids nursing hangovers. Samuel was in the weeds, plating eggs Benedict, when his phone vibrated, a video from an unknown number. Grainy footage, him and Michael in the booth that first night, bodies blurred but unmistakable. The caption, "Smile for the journal." Or sell. Samuel's vision tunneled, spatula clattering to the floor. Elena or his father? No. Deeper, the PI he'd hired, turned Judas for a payout. The man who'd tailed Michael's ex now peddled their intimacy like stock tips. He stormed the office, slamming the door, but Michael followed, concern etching his face. "Sam? What's wrong?" Michael's hand on his arm, steady now, healed but scarred, grounded him. Samuel thrust the phone forward, video playing on mute, shadows writhing, moans implied. Michael's face drained of color. "Who? How?" "The snake I paid to watch your back." Samuel paced, a caged lion in flannel. "They'll leak it, ruin you. The diner. Me." Dad's playbook, control through shame. Michael sank into the desk chair, the one that still bore their lovemaking's imprint. "And? What do we do?" "Fight." Samuel knelt, eyes fierce. "I go public first, own it." Press conference. The works. Whitaker heir comes out, saves the family name by being us. Michael's laugh was watery. "Hero complex much? This ain't a rom-com, Sam. It's my life. Additions tanking if I'm the scandal waiter." He stood, pulling Samuel up, foreheads touching. "But yeah. Together. That night, they fortified. Lawyers on speed dial, a publicist poached from a queer nonprofit. Sex became strategy, slow, affirming. Michael's body a map Samuel memorized anew. "You're mine," Samuel whispered, entering him with reverence, thrusts sinking like heartbeats. Michael arched, good hand fisting sheets, cries building to a crescendo that drowned doubt. "Ours," he gasped, climax crashing like waves on Coney boardwalks. Climax came literal the next week. A tip from a loyal busboy about the PI's meet with a sleazy reporter at a midtown dive. Samuel crashed it. Solo, no backup, fists and fury raining. The PI went down easy, nose crunching like celery. But the reporter? He snapped pics, grinning through bloodied teeth. Front page. Whitaker. Gay diner drama, gold. The story broke Monday. Heiress's son in queer brawl, Empire's dirty secret, twisted, tabloidy. Michael's name dragged through ink. Protests erupted outside Gino's. PFLAG allies waving signs, counter-protesters hurling slurs and eggs. Samuel barricaded the door, Michael inside prepping orders with shaking hands. "We close?" Michael asked, voice small amid the din. "Hell no." Samuel kissed his temple, tasting salt. "We serve." Show 'em love wins shifts. Customers trickled in, rainbow pins glinting, tips doubling. But the siege wore them. Michael's ex escalated, doxing his address online, forcing a frantic move to Samuel's Tribeca loft. A glass airy overlooking the river, worlds colliding in minimalist chic. There, amid Eames chairs and skyline views, they rebuilt. Michael rehearsing lines in the echoey hall. Samuel drafting manifestos on his laptop. Betrayal's second strike landed at the family Thanksgiving. Uninvited. Elena crashing with Wit Sr.'s decree. The patriarch loomed in the foyer. Silver Fox in Seville Row. Ice cold as December wind. Samuel. This charade ends. Sell the diner. Cut ties with the help. Or lose the inheritance. Michael. Basting turkey in the kitchen. Overheard knife slipping. Nicking his thumb. Samuel whirled. Shielding him. Get out. Both of you. This is my life now. Wit Sr.'s laugh was ice. Life? You're a phase. Boy. Like your mother. He eyed Michael like refuse. And him? Collateral. The words ignited Samuel. He shoved his father toward the elevator. Elena slinking behind. Mother loved fiercely, unlike you. I'm done apologizing. Door slammed. Silence crashed. Michael bandaged his thumb, then pulled Samuel into an embrace that broke dams. You okay? Better than ever. Samuel's voice cracked, but his hold didn't. They ate alone. Candlelit confessions flowing with Merlot. Marry me, Samuel blurted, impulsive as youth. Not legally. Fuck that noise, but you and me. Vows under the Brooklyn Bridge. Michael's eyes shimmered. Yes. God. Yes. But euphoria fractured dawn. A call from the PI. Escaped bail. Vengeful. Your boy's ex and I? Partners now. Watch the news. Broadcast looped. Michael's old love letter, stolen. Intimate. Plastered nationwide. Twisted into gold digger seduction. Michael's phone exploded. Agents dropping rolls. Friends ghosting. He crumpled on the loft floor. Sobs racking. I'm toxic. Run. Sam. Samuel hauled him up. Fierce. Never. We're poisoned together. Better that than alone. They rallied. A viral video from Gino's. Samuel and Michael hand in hand. Declaring love unbowed. Views soared. Allies mobilized fundraisers. Queer icons tweeting support. The diner boomed. A beacon amid backlash. Yet conflict crested at the loft party they threw. Celebration masking cracks. Michael's ex crashed. Drunk and deranged. Pistol whipping the doorman for entry. Chaos. Guests scattering. Samuel tackling him in the foyer. Guns skittering across marble. Michael froze. Trauma flashing. Broken hands echo. Until he lunged, wrenching the weapon away. Cops hauled the ex off. But the damage scarred. Michael's PTSD flaring. Nightmares of mobile nights. Samuel held him through them, whispering anchors. I'm here. Always. In quiet aftermath. They vowed deeper therapy. Boundaries. A future beyond fight. New York winter howled outside. But inside, warmth kindled, two men forging hearth from hearthbreak. December's grip tightened. Fairy lights twinkling like defiant stars against the gray. Samuel and Michael's bridge vow. Whispered under sodium lamps. Rings exchanged from a pawnshop's promise. Felt like armor. But vows, like snowdrifts, bury truths until spring's thaw. The diner evolved. Rainbow murals splashed on walls. Love special on the menu. A heart-shaped burger drawing influencers and families. Profits funded staff scholarships. Michael's theater troupe. Samuel stepped back from Whitaker boardrooms. His father's disownment a severance sweeter than stock options. You're dead to me, Wit Sr. Had snarled over speakerphone. but death meant freedom. Intimacy deepened. Lazy Sundays in the loft. Michael's head in Samuel's lap. Guitar strums weaving folk tales of outlaws in love. Sex shifted, less frenzy, more ritual. Slow explorations by firelight. Samuel learning the language of Michael's sighs, mapping freckles like constellations. "You're my north," he murmured one dawn. Buried deep, their rhythms a duet. Michael clenched around him. Release a shared supernova. Aftershocks lingering in tangled limbs. But betrayal's ghost lingered too. Elena, ever the serpent, slithered back via email. Dossiers on Michael's past. Juvenile shoplift for formula. Dead mom. Addict dad. A dismissed assault charge from the ex's lies. Leverage. Darling. Reconcile. Or it leaks. Samuel burned the files. But seeds of doubt sprouted. Was Michael holding back? Late texts from old friends. Rehearsals running long. Paranoia. Samuel chided himself. Echoes of his father's gaslighting. Yet when Michael dodged questions about a callback for Rent revival, tension simmered. Climax brewed at New Year's Eve bash. Gino's transformed into a queer wonderland. Drag queens lip-syncing Gaga amid confetti cannons. Samuel proposed publicly, toasts, cheers, but Michael's smile faltered, eyes darting to a stranger in the crowd. The ex, out on technicality, nursing a beer with venomous stare. Midnight kiss under bursting fireworks. Michael's whisper chilled. He's here. Watching. Samuel scanned, spotting the glare. Ignore. We're bulletproof. But post-party, in the loft's hush, Michael confessed. That callback? It's in Alabama. Lead in a play about coming home. Pays rent for a year. Samuel's world stuttered. Home? After everything. It's not home, Michael insisted, pacing. It's healing, facing ghosts on my terms. And the money. We could buy the diner outright. Cut your family's strings forever. Jealousy coiled. Ugly. Or it's running. From me. From this. Samuel gestured wildly. The view. Their life. You said vows. My bridge or bust. Michael's face crumpled. This isn't betrayal. It's survival. You have empires. I have stages. Don't make me choose. The fight escalated, words like shrapnel. Samuel accused hiding, the texts, the distance. Michael hurled back. You're the king of secrets, undercover lover. Now out but still chained to daddy's ghost. A vase shattered. Symbolic fracture. Michael stormed out into the snow. Samuel chasing to the street. Tires screeching. A cab vanishing into whiteout. Hours later. Voicemail. I love you. But love bends. Doesn't break. Meet me at Gino's. Dawn. Samuel waited. Heart in throat. As first light gilded the counter. Michael arrived. Frost-kissed. Ex's shadow trailing. The bastard. Gun in coat. Cornered from a tip-off gone wrong. Chaos reignited. Ex lunging. Samuel shielding. A shot cracking. Grazing Michael's arm. Blood blooming on snow. Samuel disarmed him barehanded. Rage a red haze. Until sirens wailed. Michael slumped. Pale. Whispering. Don't let go. Hospital again. Deja vu in beeps and bandages. Samuel confessed poolside. Overlooking the East River. I was scared. Of losing you to spotlights brighter than mine. Michael squeezed his hand. Four dripped. Spotlights fade. You? You're steady. Tears tracked. But the play. The 6 months. Then home, to you. Samuel nodded. Relief crashing. Go. Shine. I'll hold the fort. Betrayal resolved, not in fists, but forgiveness. They emerged scarred but soldered. The ex's trial a footnote in their saga. Spring teased buds, and Michael's departure loomed, a bittersweet launch. Spring unfurled in verdant defiance. Cherry blossoms carpeting Chelsea like pink confetti. Michael's flight to Birmingham was a tear-streaked farewell at JFK. Samuel's arms a harbor, kisses Celine with goodbyes. 6 months, Michael vowed, boarding pass clutched like talisman. Then forever, Samuel returned to Gino's a husk, counter-echoing without Michael's banter. He poured himself into the place. Expansions to catering queer weddings, partnerships with Bronx Farms for farm-to-table twists. Nights, the loft mocked him, empty king bed, guitar silent. He wrote letters, unsealed confessions of longing. Miss your laugh in the steam. Hurry back, my Whitman. Backlash lingered. Whitaker stock dipped on queer scandal, his father issuing a curt, rehab or ruin via courier. Samuel chose ruin, liquidating shares, funneling funds to the diner co-op. Staff bought in, naming him honorary godfather. Freedom tasted like black coffee at dawn, sharp and sustaining. Michael's updates crackled with joy. Nailed the role, AIDS-era angel. Raw as hell. Crowd wept. Photos, him on stage. Spotlit and soaring. Ex's shadow banished by applause. But subtext tugged. A director's lingering gaze. Late-night cast drinks. Trust frayed. Samuel's calls sharpening. Just friends, Michael soothed, but distance amplified doubts. Climax crested midsummer, solstice heat mirroring inner boil. Samuel flew south unannounced, heart pounding like a bass drum. Birmingham's humidity clung, the theater a brick relic humming with rehearsal hum. He slipped into shadows, watching Michael command the stage. Voice breaking on lines of lost love, body electric in vulnerability. Intermission. Confrontation in the green room, Michael's shock melting to embrace. Sam? What? Needed to see you. In your element. Samuel's voice roughened. But the calls. You're fading. Michael deflated. Makeup smeared. It's the role stirring ghosts. And yeah, temptation. Director's pushy, but I shut it down. He cupped Samuel's face. You're my anchor. Always. They tumbled into a motel off I-20 cheap neon. But theirs. Reunion was wildfire. Clothes shed in frenzy. Samuel pinning Michael to the bed. Reclaiming with mouth and hands. Mine, he growled, thrusting deep, Michael's legs wrapping like vines. Cries echoed off thin walls. Release a cathartic storm. Sweat slick. Soul-bearing. After. Tangled in sheets. Truth spilled. Michael admitted the pull of acclaim. The fear of being just the waiter boyfriend. Samuel bared his terror. Of being the rich relic. Unworthy of stage-lit grace. We're equals, Michael murmured. Diner or footlights. Love levels it. They returned north together. Michael's run extended but heart hitched home. Fall gilded the city. Pride's echo in every strut. Gino's thrived. A haven. Open mics where Michael debuted songs of them. Samuel emceeing with pride. Betrayal's final ghost? With senior stroke. Bedridden. Repentant in whispers. Samuel visited. not for forgiveness, but closure. "You lost 2 sons," he said, hand on the rail. "Mother's spirit lives in me, fierce, free." The old man wept, a check for the co-op unsigned but apology etched. Humanistic dawn, winter's eve, Brooklyn Bridge aglow. Samuel and Michael renewed vows, witnessed by drag family. Diner crew, rings glinting like stars. In sickness, slings, scandals, Samuel intoned, voice steady. In empires crumbled, stages conquered, Michael echoed, kiss ceiling. The city sprawled below, a beast tamed not by conquest, but compassion. They walked hand in hand, unbroken, into whatever storm next brewed. Love, in New York's unyielding pulse, wasn't perfection. It was persistence. 2 men, scarred and shining, carving heart from hustle. And in that carving, they found grace.